Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are exploring something truly mind-bending. We're going to be talking about atoms,
Oh, yeah.
but not just like, your basic kind of like atoms 101 stuff. We're looking at atoms through a more philosophical,
Right.
even spiritual lens.
Hmm?
Our source material for this deep dive takes a really unique approach, exploring how these tiny particles, atoms,
Mm-hmm.
might actually point to like a much deeper purpose in the universe.
Well, and it is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think a lot of people think of atoms as just kind of these tiny invisible things, right,
right.
that make up everything around us. But this text goes so far beyond that. It suggests that atoms are like these master witnesses to
Wow.
God's design, and that, like, even their movements are part of this, like, grand cosmic
A
dance.
cosmic dance of atoms. That's pretty wild.
It is.
I'm definitely intrigued. But maybe before we like go too deep into that,
Sure.
can we like back up a little bit?
Of course, yeah.
For those of us who haven't really thought about atoms since high school chemistry class, can
Right.
you just like remind us what are atoms?
Absolutely. So atoms are the most basic building blocks of all matter. So really everything that you can see and touch and even breathe is made up of atoms.
Wow.
They're incredibly small, but they have so much potential energy
Yeah.
packed into them. And, according to this source, they also have incredible purpose.
Okay, so that makes sense. But how does this text actually connect these tiny atoms to like a divine purpose? I mean, they're just particles, right? How can they be witnesses to anything?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And this is where it starts to get really, really interesting.
Okay.
The text uses this analogy of a seed. So think about like a tiny seed, right,
Hmm.
that has all of the information packed into it to grow into this massive pine tree.
Hmm.
And it argues that atoms are kind of similar, right? They might be super small,
Yeah.
but they have this potential for like incredible complexity and order. And that potential is guided by a divine plan.
So wait, are you saying that like even the atoms in my body are part of some kind of like cosmic blueprint?
That's exactly what it's saying. It introduces these two concepts, the manifest book
Okay.
and the manifest record, to explain how this divine plan kind of works.
Okay.
So think of the manifest book as like the cosmic blueprint for the physical world,
No.
It's where God's power and will are like actively shaping reality using atoms as those building blocks.
Okay. I think I'm kind of getting that. But what about this manifest record?
Right.
That sounds a little bit more mysterious.
Yeah. Well, imagine the manifest record as like this realm of like divine knowledge and commands.
Hmm.
It's where everything exists in its potential form. So like those seeds that we talked about, just waiting to sprout.
Okay.
You could almost picture it as like this vast library that has the plans for everything that ever
Ah.
was, is, and will be.
So the manifest book is like the doing part where things are actively like being built.
Right.
And the manifest record is the knowing part where the blueprint is like stored.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And this whole framework kind of helps us understand the incredible order we see in the universe.
Right.
Because, if atoms were just randomly bouncing around,
Hmm.
how could they possibly create like these complex, organized structures?
That's true. I remember, learning in school how atoms form molecules and stuff.
Yeah.
But I never really thought about like the bigger picture, how those molecules then come together to form, everything, rocks, water, plants, animals.
Yeah. And the source material actually goes even further than that.
Okay.
It says that this order isn't just the result of random chance.
Right.
It's really a reflection of like a divine intelligence that's guiding the behavior of the atoms.
Hmm.
It even uses the phrase "in the name of God" to describe how atoms are moving
Wow.
with intention and order.
But how do they know how to do these things? I mean,
Right.
atoms don't have like brains, do they?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The text suggests that even though atoms don't have consciousness, at least as we understand it,
Right.
they're being guided by a higher intelligence.
Hmm.
It's like they're following instructions,
Okay.
a script that's been written in the manifest record.
So, let's say I'm buying into this idea that atoms are following some kind of divine blueprint.
Uh-huh.
Like, what does that actually look like? What is it actually doing?
Right, so the text gives us some vivid examples to kind of illustrate this.
Okay.
It talks about air atoms moving effortlessly between like a flower's blossom
Uh-huh.
or a leaf structure, and then like even into a living being's body.
Wow.
Or soil atoms somehow knowing how to provide like the perfect environment for any seed to grow.
It's not just about atoms like coming together to form structures. It's about their constant motion and interaction.
Exactly. And the text argues that this constant motion and transformation,
Yeah.
it's not just random chaos. It's like a beautifully choreographed dance of creation.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, this whole concept of atoms like evolving and stuff, it's
Wow.
wild. I gotta say it's making me look at like
Yeah.
the world around me a little
Yeah.
bit differently. Like I'm looking at that plant over there and I'm like, what is going on
Right.
on an atomic level?
It really does kind of challenge us to see the world with fresh eyes, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
And this idea that atoms might have a destiny beyond the physical world, it actually ties into a central theme that comes up a lot in this text,
Okay.
which is that the universe isn't just like random, you know.
Right.
It's actually purposeful.
Okay.
Everything from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, it's all part of this like grand design.
That makes sense. And you mentioned earlier that there are certain laws that are like reflected in the behavior of atoms.
Yeah, exactly. So the source actually lists 7 laws:
Okay.
lordship, generosity, grace, mercy, wisdom, justice, and all-encompassing knowledge.
Wow.
And it suggests that these laws aren't just like abstract concepts.
Right.
They're actually active forces that are shaping the universe.
Mm.
And we can see them at play, like in the way atoms move and interact and just contribute to the overall scheme of creation.
So even something as seemingly insignificant as like a speck of dust or whatever
Yeah,
is actually like a testament to this like intricate,
right.
purposeful design.
Precisely. Yeah. This text really encourages us to kind of look beyond the surface of things
Mm.
and recognize that everything's interconnected. You know, even the smallest actions
Yeah.
at the atomic level are contributing to this grand symphony of creation.
It's pretty heady stuff. I mean, does the text offer any more like concrete examples of how
Yeah.
you can see these laws at work in the behavior of atoms?
It does. So one example it gives is the way God uses atoms to create new bodies for spirits year after year.
Hmm.
It also talks about how atoms are constantly involved in like renewing the Earth's surface for
Right.
cultivation.
Okay.
And I think maybe most intriguingly, it talks about this constant flow of atoms between the physical world, the unseen world,
Wow.
and the hereafter.
So even in death, atoms are playing a part
Yeah.
in this like grand scheme.
That's right.
That's pretty amazing. It's like they're constantly being repurposed for different acts of creation.
Exactly. The text really highlights how atoms are constantly in motion, you know,
Yeah.
transforming from one form to another, serving different purposes along the way. And it's almost as if this constant movement, this
Right.
this dance of atoms is actually a form of worship or praise,
Oh, wow.
a continuous testament to the creative power behind it all.
I love that image, like a dance of atoms. And you mentioned earlier, the text also compares atoms to like whirling dervishes, right?
It does.
Spinning and revolving in praise of their creator.
Yeah, and it's not just about the motion itself.
Right.
It's also about the intention behind it.
Okay.
Like, this image really emphasizes that even at the atomic level,
Yeah.
there's this sense of devotion,
Mm.
of acknowledging a higher power.
It's beautiful. I mean, it makes you think about like the amazing complexity
Yeah.
and beauty of the world
Yeah.
and how even the tiniest things are part of something much grander.
Absolutely. It really does kind of shift your perspective. And speaking of perspective shifts, there's another concept that I found really thought-provoking
Okay.
that comes up in the text. It suggests that each atom carries within it 2 testimonies,
Okay.
one to God's existence and another to God's unity.
Okay, I'm curious. How can like an atom testify to anything?
Right. Well, the text explains that an atom's ability to like perform these complex tasks,
Uh-huh.
to follow these instructions and contribute to this intricate design,
Yeah.
it really points to the existence of like a higher intelligence, a creator.
Hmm.
It's almost as if each atom is saying, look what I can do. This couldn't have just happened by chance.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the testimony to God's unity?
Right.
How does that work?
So the text argues that atoms demonstrate God's unity by adhering to this universal order,
Okay.
seamlessly fitting into any environment they find themselves in. It uses the analogy of like a private soldier
Uh-huh.
who's part of this vast army.
Okay.
even though they're just one small part,
Right.
they're connected to and they act in accordance with this overall like strategy and command structure.
Mm.
And in the same way, atoms, even though they're tiny, are part of this grand interconnected system,
Yeah.
reflecting the unity and the overarching purpose of the Creator.
So even something as seemingly insignificant as like, an atom's journey through our digestive system
Right.
is actually a reflection of this like grand design and purpose.
Precisely. The text emphasizes that even the smallest actions at the atomic level are contributing to this grand symphony of creation.
Hmm.
And this perspective really fosters a sense of awe and wonder at the complexity and beauty of the world around us.
Yeah.
And it also makes you think about your own place in this grand scheme.
Right. Like if even atoms have a purpose, what does that mean for us?
That's a great question. And it actually leads us to one of the most powerful images in the text.
Okay.
The idea of atoms being like points on a needle,
Okay.
playing the records of creation on this vast cosmic record player,
Wow.
endlessly singing praises to their creator.
Wow. That's a beautiful image.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. It really captures this sense of like constant motion and
Yeah.
purpose and even joy
Yeah.
that the text attributes to this world of atoms.
Right.
It's like everything, even the smallest particle, is participating in this like grand cosmic symphony.
It really is a powerful image. And it suggests that the universe isn't just like this cold, indifferent machine.
Right.
It's this living, breathing testament to the creative power and intelligence behind it all.
I have to say, this whole conversation has been like really eye-opening. It's like I'm looking at the world around me and I'm noticing all these little details and stuff I never really paid attention to before.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of exploring these deeper levels of reality. It really challenges us to kind of rethink our assumptions about things.
Right.
And to really appreciate the interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah. And I especially love that image of the atoms being like points on a needle,
Right.
playing the records of creation on a cosmic record player.
Yeah.
It's so evocative. It really captures that sense of harmony and purpose that this text attributes to the universe.
It's a really powerful metaphor, and it kind of invites us to listen more deeply, right? To try to tune in to those rhythms of creation that are happening all around us,
Yeah.
even at the smallest level.
It really makes you wonder, if even atoms have a purpose and a destiny,
Right.
like this text suggests, what does that tell us about our own place in this grand scheme of things?
That's a really profound question, and it's one that the source material doesn't really answer directly.
Right.
But I think by revealing this hidden world of atoms and presenting them as so much more than just like these inert particles, it encourages us to ponder those deeper mysteries, right? It opens up this possibility that maybe our existence is a lot more interconnected and a lot more purposeful
Right.
than we might have imagined.
Yeah, it's almost like this deep dive has given me like a new lens
Yeah.
through which to view the world. It's not just a collection of random objects and events anymore. It's like it's a symphony of creation, and even the smallest particles are playing this vital role.
Yeah. And it invites us to kind of consider our own role in that symphony too, right?
Right.
I mean, if even atoms could be seen as expressing like praise and devotion through their motion and interactions, what does that mean for us? As conscious beings,
Right.
how can we maybe align ourselves more closely with that ground design and contribute our own like unique melody to the music of the universe?
Those are amazing questions, and ones that I think I'll be pondering for quite some time. I mean, it's both humbling and inspiring to think that we're part of something so vast and intricate.
It is, and I think it also reminds us that there's always more to learn, right?
Right.
There's always more to explore and more to discover, even in the things that we think we already know. And yet our actions still matter. The source reminds us that we're not just passive observers. We're active participants in the unfolding of creation. We have the potential to contribute to the refinement of atoms, to spread beauty and goodness, and to reflect those divine attributes in our own lives.
It's a lot of responsibility, but it's also incredibly empowering. It means we're not just cogs in a machine. We have agency, we have purpose, and we have the ability to make a difference.
This deep dive has definitely given us a lot to chew on, would you say? It's expanded our understanding of atoms, challenged our assumptions about the nature of reality, and left us with a sense of wonder and awe at the interconnectedness of everything.
It's definitely been a journey of discovery, and as much as we've uncovered, I have a feeling there's still so much more to explore, to ponder, to marvel at.
That's the beauty of it all, isn't it? The journey never truly ends. There's always more to learn, more to uncover, more to integrate into our understanding of the universe and ourselves.
So to our listener, we leave you with this final thought. If every atom is part of this grand, divinely guided process, what does that say about your own place and purpose within it? What unique contribution can you make to the beauty and harmony of creation? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep. Until next time.